Tonight, I thought it was really cool to see burgundy and gold in the crowd, behind our bench, and to see that here in Arizona to show up, and I felt their presence, and so that was really cool. From the team standpoint, I thought a couple things. First, I thought it was an important road trip, a lot of sacrifice to go out to Cincinnati Monday night, way here, be away from their families to do that, and so we wanted to make sure that was worth it. That sacrifice. I thought the guys worked really hard during the week, getting us ready for this game. They got a number of talented players, so I thought the guys coming in late on a Tuesday really put the work in. And then the last piece, I thought tonight an example of like complementary football again, why that's so big. First drive down, scoring for us to go answer, a big deal. We had an interception. The defense went, to go a 3-and-out stop. So I thought those were the things that I felt, that complimentary ball that I talk about a lot. And then the last piece, I thought just a quick shout out to the big guys, to have a big rushing performance, with over 200 yards and no sacks. That's a big guys kind of day. And so to see those guys really ramped up and ready, and the running backs, tight ends, the whole group of it all, I thought that was really strong. So all that said, let's get rocking.
Coach, a lot of conversation this week about really starting to establish that defensive identity. How big of a step do you guys think you guys took today?
It was an important one. I had told the defense here, you're closer than you think. And it hadn't been the performances that we wanted going into today. But I didn't think we were as far off. And so I thought, knock one out with Oos to get the recovery. I thought that was big. Felt their pass rush, and the guys, the energy. And so nice thing as a coach on games like this, there's clearly things to improve upon. We had some penalties that we wouldn't have liked. But by and large, I thought, seeing defensively, especially on that stop after the interception, I thought what a great example of, having, one other's back, from the offense after the first score to go down and score, and then defensively after the interception to go do the same. So that was really cool for me to see.
This is obviously not just another game for Cliff based on his past. I imagine you guys might be getting a game ball or something. What was your thoughts on what this means for him, but also his performance as a play caller?
Yeah, I thought Cliff was really, over the last, few weeks, I thought the connection, the game planning to go. And so, yes, he did. And just I've been in that space before and know there's some emotion that goes with that of, playing somewhere where you put so much into it and it doesn't, go the way that you want. So, yeah, he definitely got one today. And there'll be some others as we get back home, but I wasn't going to leave Arizona without presenting one to him. But he did an excellent job all week, Ben, honestly, just like staying in it, the game plan, the focus, the effort, and no one would have ever known otherwise, the internal side, and those emotions that are there. But it was really cool to see that after the game.
Coach, the way you closed the first half, starting with the sack on fourth down, getting the field goal, then immediately scoring in the third quarter, just how huge it took a close game to 17.
Yeah, those are the margins, when you got a chance to go get an opportunity. And so for them going on at fourth, getting the stop, then we still had timeouts available at that spot. So no going into it, we're not far away. We can, use the clock and use what we needed to do. And then getting a chance to come out, for the second half. That was a really big turning point in the game.
What was the difference with the pass rush today, I guess specifically with Dorrance Armstrong? Are you starting to see him create a little bit more like he did, obviously, the past couple of years in Dallas?
Well, that's a good question. I really felt their connection, all four, and that's such a big piece of this, much like any good defense where you're connected in a way where there's tackling and two guys have leverage, or it's a stunt that works together into that. So I felt more of that in this game, and that type of communication and connection isn't built overnight, but that was definitely a good sign to see them take those steps today.
And when an offense is kind of humming the way that yours is, how much, I don't want to say pressure, but pressure does that take off the defense to force turnovers and create big plays when you know that at whatever point that the offense gets the ball?
Yeah, we're not there yet in terms of the takeaways. We're going to be, but we're not there yet. I thought we had some chances at some today. We didn't nail all of them, but their offenses, they've got some tough guys to match up with, from receiver and running back and quarterback, and like just, the way they, deploy the guys. So we knew it was going to be a challenge coming in. But at the end of it, we were looking for improvement. Like I said, I told the defense that you're closer than you think. We've missed the mark, through some games on some spots, but I thought third down, especially in the first half, was a really big part of that.
With regards to Jaden, he threw a pick. He had double the incompletions he had last week. I'm kidding, but clearly he's got to improve. He's got things to work on.
What was honestly like like I said it earlier, but like after the interception, I thought what a great illustration of the defense, you know, going right away to get a stop. And we're, you know, there's so many things for us, you know, after a win like this we can get better at this and get better at this. And that's what we're going to go chase, Ben, just the constant improvement. But like I said, big for us on a road trip, you know, to leave here with 2 wins. That was a big deal. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of effort to go into it. And then let's get back home and reset the whole thing and get rolling again.
You guys have talked about his poise a ton. To have the week he just had, get named player of the week, the Monday night, all that. And then how did you see him handle that all week and then leading into this game where
Yeah, I had told him earlier I was really proud of him. I knew there were some extra probably stories and things, you know, here back at ASU and going to that. And much like Cliff, you would never have known that, that there was a history here. He and I were in the bubble, you know, at ASU talking about, you know, coached on a team that had practiced here for Super Bowl and, you know, his time here. And I just thought he handled it like a real G, you know, like just stayed steady all the way through in terms of the preparation. He and the quarterbacks and the guys were many late nights, you know, in the room watching tape together. And theirs was, you know, just one office down from mine in the hotel. And all the way through the week, including, you know, into last night, you know, just putting in the extra time, going into it. They just kind of stayed around and were talking through all the stuff to go. So I think that speaks to their preparation.
Coach, how impressed are you with your tight end group today, not just offensively, but also some key special teams plays?
Yeah, I thought that's what it's all about, you know, that complementary side to things. And as we're going through it, there'll be things for us to improve upon to go. But starts really with Zach, you know, in terms of standards and how we go about things. So, but to see all those guys, you know, rotate through and get rolling, that was big. And I thought Jeremy McNichols, you know, was another one at the running back spot. I'd said on Friday he was going to be one of the captains, and humility and trust are some of the, you know, the things that I spoke about that think of him. And whatever role he has, the dirty work, the blitz pickup, you know, he's always down for it. And I thought I saw that again tonight.
Terry McLaurin obviously has had 2 kind of good weeks in a row. But last week.
Kinda, yes.
Not kinda, definitely. Last week there was Noah Brown and Luke McCaffrey that kind of stepped up and had bigger days today. Olamide Zaccheaus. How difficult is that on a defense dimensionally to try and figure out kind of who's going to be getting those targets after the obvious thing?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of talk about who's to and what is that, and I think we've established that different guys in different roles and how they would come through. But you know, OZ had really had some, you know, big pickups today. You know, he was going to be out of the backfield some to work like Austin. And so we had to work some of that because Austin's got so many unique things about him as well in the run game and the passing game. So we knew OZ could pick up on some of that as well, maybe not carrying it out of the backfield like Austin, but, you know, out of the backfield. So you saw some of that as well tonight, knowing that he'd take up some of that we were going to miss from Austin.
And then with the O-line, we've seen it kind of incrementally get better week by week by week. What have you seen from the group and kind of what has there been anything that's been kind of the linchpin to that improvement?
Boy, that's a good one. I think it's probably been for a while. It was in camp, and we're working through, and we had some injuries, and trying to, you know, still work through that, and we're still, you know, doing some rotating at the tackle spot, and that's not the worst thing, you know, to have guys in depth and going. But I thought Nick and Sam and you know, Tyler inside were really strong all the way through. To make sure when we have our chances and get our runs and completions high like they were today, that gives us a real advantage, you know, because then time of possession shifts and ways that you can go through that. So although it's no huddle, there's a lot of attacking and tempo and way we can change some of that. And it makes it difficult to prepare for, honestly, because there's no huddle and then you're changing tempos and then you huddle and come out with different groups. So the guys have really been putting in the work. It's a lot to go through to get the guys ready for the week. But like I said, for the big guys, that was their kind of day.
Coach, you went 12 personnel a lot today, at least especially early on in the game. Was that more what you guys saw in your own unit or something that you saw in the Cardinals?
A little bit of both. We knew we'd have to, you know, try to get on the ball some. It's part of what we do. Budda Baker's such a good competitor, man, and so we'd have to find ways to not allow him to, you know, ruin the game. And he's got that kind of ability to him. I just love him as a competitor, where he comes from, the blitzing. And so we'd have to spread out some, even when you're in a bigger group. Sometimes getting, you know, Brian and the guys downhill was a big piece of it too. But at the end of it, just finding the matchups that we can go to, you know, try to create a leverage or an advantage.
Coach, you had cited the third down defense as an area for improvement through the first 3 weeks. They made stops on 5 of the first 6 third downs. What did you see from them today that allowed them to make those stops?
Quite honestly, I thought really more about the execution. And even all the way back to Tampa, we had some chances and we didn't make them. And so that's no excuse, because you don't get do-overs, but you got to nail the moments when they're there. And so I felt communication. I felt the way to go through would be good. But I got to give, tip your hat to Joe and to the staff, where it's been a hard, few weeks for them. And I told them they were closer than they thought. And so keep digging, keep finding the right spaces. But for that group specifically, I was pleased for them to get some stops on a really talented offense. They can score from a lot of spots on the field, and they've shown that.